Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today's lesson is mental alchemy and shadow integration. And today, we're going to explore the process of shadow integration, of bringing unconscious material to the surface. This is a process of self-transformation that comes from modern psychology. It is a process of self-change, self-transformation, and this process is very real. In my last video, I talked about self-hypnosis, how to hypnotize yourself for success, which is actually a lot easier and simpler than most people are aware. It is simply a relaxed state of mind where you repeat a suggestion. The word hypnosis comes from the Greek word hypnos, which means sleep. You simply get into a relaxed state of mind and you repeat a suggestion. And it's that simple. That's all you have to do to basically practice self-hypnosis. And I also talked about affirmations, a statement that is repeated again and again and again as a way to program your mind for success. Advertising companies, big corporations, they use subliminal messages, things like that, to get you to buy their product. Okay? You might as well use these techniques yourself to actually improve yourself, to accomplish your goals, to be the person that you want to be. If where you are now is not where you want to be, if you have goals, then these are techniques that are tried and proven that you could actually apply to vastly transform your life. I recently quit smoking with the use of self-hypnosis. So anyways, okay, so my last episode, I went into affirmations, self-hypnosis, these techniques that anyone could use to change their self-image, their self-concept. Okay, now today, this is a little bit of an opposite process. Shadow integration involves bringing to the surface unconscious material, which often includes painful, traumatic memories, repressed fears. There's a lot of positive aspects to the shadow, but also a lot of it is painful and traumatic. And this goes against a lot of what the self-help people say. They say, never have a negative thought, just think positive. But the shadow is part of the unconscious. All of your traumatic events in the past that really traumatized you, painful memories, phobias, these are still there in the unconscious. And if you could bring these painful memories, things like that, to the surface, then you could release them through painting in different ways to get it out of the unconscious. Or there are lots of positive qualities in the shadow that you may integrate into your personality. So this is actually applying a knowledge of the workings of the mind as a tool for self-transformation. It's pretty amazing. So this shadow integration, this is Jungian psychology or analytical psychology. It was created by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung. so Jungian psychology or analytical psychology. He was a student of Freud. He came up with the concept of the collective unconscious, of archetypes. He wrote a lot of really awesome books, Man and His Symbol, Psychology and Alchemy. He came up with the 4 qualities of the personality, whatever. But okay, so so yeah, in my last video, I gave techniques for self-hypnosis. You get into a relaxed state and you repeat a suggestion. Okay? An affirmation is anything that you repeat over and over and over again to program your mind consciously for success. So if you have low self-esteem, you may repeat an affirmation such as, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful. So you affirm a statement. It's a statement that you repeat over and over and over and over again because you're trying to program your mind consciously for success. I quit smoking because I told myself over and over again that cigarettes are disgusting, that I hated them, okay? And it really helped me out to quit smoking. So this is sort of in that case, your conscious mind is giving input to the subconscious. You are programming your subconscious mind. This process of bringing unconscious material to the conscious mind is the opposite process. So this is, in a sense, uniting the 2 hemispheres of the brain. You are uniting the conscious and subconscious. Okay, so by programming your mind, you're programming your subconscious. By shadow integration, you're bringing subconscious material to the conscious mind. And by being consciously aware of what was previously unconscious, creates a form of expanded awareness. This is self-knowledge. And it all goes back to the temple of Apollo at Delphi said, know thyself. This is self-knowledge. And by not being aware of our own negative qualities, again, the shadow has lots of positive qualities, but while we're trying to build up ourself with affirmations, self-hypnosis, a lot of people are familiar with The Secret and the law of attraction. They refuse to have any negative thought. They're like, oh crap, I had a negative thought, cancel, cancel. And then they repeat a positive. But this says that all that material that you're repressing is still there in the unconscious. So this is about bringing material to the surface. So, what is the shadow? The shadow is everything that you repress. It includes repressed memories, painful memories, traumatic events that happened that you don't want to think about. It includes your fears, repressed sexual urges. It also has lots of positive qualities. A lot of times it's the opposite of what you are outwardly. So you could see how this goes hand in hand with self-programming, because whatever you're building your ego or outward self to be, your self-image, okay, the opposite is the shadow. So when you're creating this new self-identity, your shadow is also changing. So anyways, by examining your dreams, for example, you could bring up unconscious material. Okay. So memories, your fears, painful memories, these are still there. And so part of the process of healing, for example, from a painful memory, may be to express this painful memory in a drawing, a picture. And then you might burn the picture. And this is a way to get it out of the unconscious and get rid of it, release it. Okay? So these painful events that you don't want to think about are still there. This is a way to get it out and release it. When we fail to acknowledge our own faults and weaknesses, we tend to project them onto other people. We don't want to acknowledge negative aspects of ourselves, which is, when you're trying to build your self-image, a lot of people repress their own weaknesses. They don't want to think about that because I'm this new person. Okay? So again, this shows you how this is sort of an opposite process. So while you're trying to improve your self-concept, also incorporating shadow material, it's like a way to release the bad and incorporate positive new information while releasing. And again, the shadow often has very positive qualities. The shadow's not bad. It is merely everything that we push down and we don't want to acknowledge as part of who we are. Okay, and a lot of times the shadow is the opposite of the outward personality. So basically, whatever you're repressing or pushing down, you don't acknowledge as part of who you are, painful memories, urges, phobias, anything that's below the surface of your awareness is in the unconscious, and a large portion of this is the shadow. And then you also have the animus or anima, the repressed gender. So, examining your dreams, that's an important way. I have a dream journal that I keep, and this is very important because your subconscious speaks to you in dreams. And this is very central to Jungian or analytical psychology, dream analysis. So if you write down your dreams, I do this all the time. If you write down your dreams and you examine them and say, what is my unconscious trying to tell me? It may be unconscious fears, memories from the past, whatever is trying to come to the surface. And a lot of times your shadow appears to you in dreams as someone of the same gender or sex that is sort of a shadowy, dark figure. Okay? A lot of times the shadow appears... So yeah, this is bringing that unconscious material to the surface. So for example, painful memories. It's still there. By bringing up these memories, and it may be painful, and maybe drawing a picture, some way releasing, getting this out, is a healing. It's a release. Okay? Which is the opposite of this positive thinking stuff, because sometimes you have to bring up stuff that you're not comfortable with. But this is all part of this process of getting this out, which is healing. And also, your shadow is often the opposite of your outward personality. So, let's say that you're this really rigid, strict person that follows the rules. You don't drink, you don't party, you don't do anything like that. You follow the rules, you're very serious all the time, strictly by the book. Take someone like that, for example. What they're repressing is they're repressing their own inner rebel, their own nonconformist, rebellious, to hell with the rules, to hell with what people think. There's this part of them that wants to go out and break the rules, go out and party and drink and, pick up girls, whatever they're going to do. They repress that part, and they're this outwardly, this rigid, completely strict person. Shadow integration would involve bringing to the surface these qualities, positive qualities, when not brought to an extreme. Bringing up this shadow and integrating this into the personality would cause them to lighten up a little bit. Go out and have a little fun. Hell, it's Friday night, you know. It helps them to balance. And if you consider the outward personality and whatever you're repressing is often, not always, often kind of the opposite of what you are outwardly, then you see how this becomes into alchemical symbolism of the chemical marriage. It is the great work in alchemy is often represented by a male-female figure, the chemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz. This is the union of opposites. You're bringing this opposite aspect of the personality to the surface, and this makes a wholeness. This is how this creates a more whole, complete human being. Or you take someone that has no rules, no responsibility, all they want to do is go out and drink and party. They have no concept of responsibility, to where it's causing problems, okay, because it's too far. They are repressing this more because we all have that inner voice. Should I really do this? And the difference between the wild, crazy person and the strict, rigid person is one person is completely guided by this, I should do this, I should do that, and the other person's like, to hell with that. They are repressing this responsible aspect. In the same way, someone that is in the army, or they're in like a really violent prison, okay? If you're in an environment that is about being tough, people tend to repress that emotional, caring, sensitive aspect of themselves. Okay, if you're out fighting every day or whatever, you're going to repress that caring, sensitive, emotional, nurturing part of you. Okay, otherwise you won't make it in the army or prison, okay? So, but bringing that to the surface, they realize that they are sensitive and caring and all that. So, I mean, this goes to show you how a lot of times what we push down, a lot of times is the opposite of who we are outwardly. So, this is the union of opposites. It's the union of the male and the female in esoteric symbolism. In alchemy, it's the male-female figure. It's the chemical wedding. It's the hermaphrodite in alchemical symbolism. And Carl Jung went a lot into the symbolism of alchemy and how it goes into psychology. The upward pointed triangle and the downward pointing triangle representing the great work, the chemical marriage, the union of macrocosm and microcosm. The two pillars, Jachin and Boaz, and esoteric symbolism of Freemasonry or whatever. So, I mean, this shows you how the symbolism of opposites. So, on the one hand, shadow integration is about bringing unconscious material to the surface. The shadow often has positive qualities. And it also has things, most of us tend to repress negative qualities we don't like. So, in this whole process of repeating affirmations, self-hypnosis, positive thinking, this whole law of attraction, a lot of people seeing The Secret, law of attraction, think positive thoughts. And don't ever think anything bad, just think positive all the time. This shows you how the whole time that you're trying to do this positive stuff, you're pushing something down deeper. It's still there in the unconscious. So a more balanced approach is to have two opposite sides to a coin. On the one hand, program your mind for success with affirmations, all that. On the other hand, bring unconscious material to the surface. Release the negative, incorporate the positive. Being aware of your own negativity doesn't mean you act on it, okay? It just helps people not to project the enemy out there. That's the source of conflict. People project their shadow. And if you go deeper into the unconscious and Jungian psychology, we all have a repressed gender. Most men have a repressed female aspect. Most women, your inner feminine. Most women have a repressed male. And even people, I guess you could say homosexuals, they even, a lot of times, have the opposite repression. So a very effeminate man may have a repressed masculine side, or the same for a homosexual woman. So it shows you how a lot of people have a repressed male or female aspect. And that, in Jungian psychology, that's called the anima or animus. That's not the shadow, though. That's another part of this. But I'm just showing you how Jungian psychology, analytical psychology, the process of individuation, is about uniting opposites. It's about bringing whatever's repressed and pushed down to the surface. Okay? Whatever you're pushing down, bringing it to the surface. And what are some techniques? Of course, a dream journal. That's what I use, is a dream journal. Analyze your dreams. This is a way that your unconscious speaks to you. Self-introspection. Examine your own thoughts. Be aware. Anytime you don't like someone, try to examine what you don't like about them. Maybe you're projecting something that you don't like about yourself. These are all ways that you could incorporate unconscious material. Some people use ink blots, or they'll look at an abstract image and try to see what images they see in it. So these are all methods used to bring unconscious material to the surface. And this is twofold process. Like in my last video, I talked about self-hypnosis, positive thinking, affirmations. This is the conscious mind programming the subconscious. Okay, this is bringing material from the conscious to the subconscious. Shadow integration, this opposite process, is bringing unconscious material to the conscious. So basically, you are uniting the two hemispheres of the brain. You are getting the conscious and subconscious minds to work together. The conscious is impregnating the subconscious. The subconscious is bringing unconscious material to the conscious mind. So conscious mind, subconscious, you are uniting the two hemispheres of the brain. Again, this upward pointing triangle and downward pointing triangle, the great work. So instead of just positive thinking and programming, also bringing up material to the surface. And a lot of times it's stuff you don't want to think about. It's still there though. So again, this is the chemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz. This is the union of opposites, Jachin and Boaz, and Masonic symbolism. It is the upward pointed triangle and downward pointed triangle. This is the union of, this is the chemical wedding and alchemical symbolism. It is the union of opposites. So whenever you think this is who I am, try to think about what you're repressing that's actually part of who you are that you're just not aware of because you've repressed it into the subconscious. And this bringing unconscious material to the surface creates a sort of expanded awareness. And this is where psychology meets this kind of, I guess you could say, Gnostic ideal of gnosis or self-transformation. This is self-transformation. Okay, in a sense, apotheosis. This is self-transformation, growth, enlightenment. Okay, so that's it. And that is mental alchemy and shadow integration. Thank you for joining me. Once again, this is Taliesin McKnight, and new videos come out every Saturday morning. Have a great day, y'all.